Ugh, gross.
Wizard, what the hell are you doing with that thing?
It's gross. It's time for fuel pump activities on this really, I don't know if it's sweet, but a GMC Sierra. Let's get started.
Yeah, you better stay over there. You're kind of stinky now.
I'm a fire hazard over here.
That's for sure.
This is a 2001 GMC Sierra that's had some issues where the customer would go inside, go shopping, do whatever, and every time they would come out after it sits for a while, they would have to crank and crank and crank and crank and crank, and finally it would start. And once they get it started, it will start every time. If you start it again 2 minutes later, 3 minutes later, whatever, it'll start just fine. But when it sits for about an hour, it has to crank forever. We're going to talk about that today, what we found was wrong, which obviously you saw, the fuel pump. And also we're going to be doing a service on this vehicle. But we're going to talk about also today, is this worth putting all this money into this 01 GMC with 134,000 miles roughly? It's a little rough. I think they use it for work. But we're going to find out that it probably is. Let's go ahead and take a look around this thing. So a lot of people will clean up and spruce up their cars when they know they're coming to the Car Wizards, possibly get filmed. But this is a work truck. It's meant to get work done. And as you can see, it's a little dirty. It's got some dings and dents in it, but it is what it is. It runs and drives fine. It's got some aftermarket wheels on it. It says Ultra. They look pretty decent. As you go to the back, you'll see scratches and dents and dings. It does have these fender flares on it, and it is a Z71. We do see an LED light strip that's on the tailgate there. And we have a nice shin buster. It never fails when I've left a hitch in a truck. I go along to get something and bam. But maybe they tow quite a lot with it and they need it to stay on. And down the side you see, again, it is not a show truck. But it's not here to be presented as such. It's here to get fixed. Let's go ahead and hop under the hood. Here's our LS motor. No, it's not an actual LS, but it is LS based. It's a Vortec. And a lot of things on this basically are an LS motor, but in the trucks they had a cast iron block with aluminum heads. A true LS is all aluminum block, aluminum heads. Different intakes, different setups, but definitely based on an LS motor. These engines are bulletproof. Very easy to work on, parts are cheap, and most mechanics around the country know how to work on these because there are literally millions upon millions of them on the road. It doesn't have any running issues under the hood. It runs just fine, but it had the issue with long cranking when it would set for a long time. Let's go ahead and do an underneath inspection, and then we're going to talk about what we found was wrong with this thing. So we do see some cables or something going on here. Maybe it gets towed with an RV or something. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but here's our plastic shield, which most of these trucks are missing by now, but luckily this one still has it. Here's our aluminum underbelly pan. This one's a 4x4, and we do see some output seals on the differential assembly are starting to leak. Very common on these trucks. Nothing serious though. See lots of crust on here. It's not necessarily rust, it's just dirt. CV boots are good. Brakes are about 50% remaining, nothing loose. CV boots are good over here, brakes are 50%. Sway bar link is intact. Usually these rust out and break, but everything looks good there. Here's our 4L Slippy is what they call these transmissions. It's
Ooh,
kind of
those
a
are
joke.
great for part works.
Yep. This is actually a 4L60. We'll be getting a transmission service on this one. Drive shaft is good. Our cats are intact, which is good. Here's our transfer case. I don't see anything leaking here. These like to leak sometimes at the output seal, or that actually can rub through the case and start a leak there, but I don't see that happening. These era of GMC or Chevy trucks are known to have the ABS light on, and it be the actual module, which is located here. And you take the module apart and resolder some pins, and usually you can get it to be back alive again. This is old enough that they still have an external fuel filter. This is something that actually kind of caught me off guard. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but you can see it's been replaced. Dennison had the tank down on this one when we did a new fuel pump. And we do see kind of like a straight pipe out the back. I don't see really any mufflers at all. So it is kind of loud. Here's a girthy drive shaft, Mrs. Wizard.
That is a big boy.
I can't even get my hands around it.
Whew.
And differential is not leaking. Let's check out our rear brakes. They're about 30-40% remaining, but they're still good. Nothing leaking there. Shock is good on both sides, and same brakes on this side as well. You can see our spare tire is missing, which is common on these cables to brake. These are very cumbersome when you have a flat tire to get this to come down. Some people will just take it down and never put it back again. They put it in the bed of their truck. So let's get this thing on the ground and talk about what's wrong with it.
Wow, Wizard, that fuel pump is really dirty on top.
Yeah, it's very common. Back in my younger days when I was doing a lot of domestic car work, it was always when a truck came in that was a work truck or a farm truck, it was actually very disheartening. It's like, oh man, I know when I pull that fuel tank down, it's going to be raining dirt all over me. But it has to be done, so it is what it is. So why is the fuel pump bad? The pump itself was working just fine, but what was causing the issue? So inside of this assembly is a one-way check valve. So when you turn off your car, the fuel pressure or fuel should stay in the fuel lines, in the fuel rail, and be just fine. So when you go to crank it again an hour or two later, it doesn't have to build pressure back up again and get fuel all the way back up to the engine again. It's already there. The check valve holds it there. So when you turn on your key, it's ready to start. It goes. This one had a bad check valve, and all the fuel would drain right back into the tank when you would turn it off. An hour or two later, you come back out and you immediately turn on the key and start cranking. There's no pressure there. All the pressure has bled off and back into the tank again. You have to start all over. And the way we prove this is that we would let it set for a few hours and turn on the key, not to start it, but just turn the key on, hear the fuel pump buzz, back off. And we do that 3 or 4 times, and it would start every time, all the time. So that told us this guy is bad. The pump was still pumping. There's actually nothing wrong with the pump. There's nothing wrong with this. But the labor to get to the check valve is identical to just replacing it. Why would you put all this old stuff back in when you're right there? Put a brand new one in. So that's what we did. So now you're thinking, what are they standing that far apart for? And I want to show you guys, whenever you turn on your key, it would have to fill the fuel lines all over again, all the way between you, the camera, and me, all the way up here at the engine. That had to be filled and primed all over again. So it's quite a distance on a truck. Most vehicles 2005 and newer, the fuel filter is part of the fuel pump. You cannot change the fuel filter without changing the fuel pump. You change it all in one assembly. But this one's old enough that I thought, I better check to see if it has an external fuel filter, and it does. I want to show you guys what happens when you don't change your fuel filter. There's actually a lot of debris in here. I'm going to dump it into this rag and see what we see. Look at that, guys. It's black.
Did you just blow a fuel filter?
No, Mrs. Wizard. Get out of the gutter. Your mind's in the gutter. This is what's in the fuel filter, and if you never change it, eventually it will clog, and it can make a no-start situation because you just literally never changed the fuel filter. But this one, it was actually worse when we first took it down and I emptied it out. It was just crud came out, tons of it. And here's our transmission kit. We're going to be putting a new gasket, new filter, a new fluid, and doing a service on it. That's the next thing we're doing. But I wanted to show you, why did we change the whole fuel pump when it was running just fine? So about 130,000 miles on this truck, and we can see that they use it for work. They tow with it. I typically say around 100, 120 roughly, you should be servicing your transmission, which is what they're doing here. New filter, new fluid, that helps keep these things alive. But we do have a rule in a shop that if you've waited to 250,000 miles and you never changed your fluid on the transmission, never did any services to it, we will refuse to do them here. I've actually witnessed my mentor actually show me on several trucks many years ago that were very high miles. They ran fine, they shifted fine, there was no issues. We did a transmission service and immediately it started slipping. He said, I want to explain to you, David, which I wasn't the car wizard at the time. He said, what happened here is the clutch material is suspended in the fluid, is actually keeping this thing alive. Whenever you remove all that and put fresh fluid in, it actually doesn't have that material suspended anymore, and it starts slipping. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be like, ever since you serviced my transmission, it started slipping, you owe me a transmission. Nope. Nope. If you haven't serviced it by 200,000 miles or greater, we will not service your transmission at all. But if you're at 100, 120, it's definitely time. We're definitely going to take care of it for this customer and keep them on the road. Another question I want to answer is, we've got a transmission service and a fuel pump on here. It's going to be under $1,000 probably. Is it worth it? This thing's kind of beat up. It's a work truck. What if it needed another $1,000 or $2,000 worth of work? I've been seeing a lot of people come in with trucks lately where the bill could be $2,000 or $3,000, and it's kind of a rough truck. It's really pretty rough. And I can't blame them. They say, I can afford the $3,000 to fix my truck. I cannot afford $95,000 for a brand new one. Truck prices are absolutely stupid anymore. Actually, Crazy D in the office was thinking about replacing his truck not too long ago. It's getting a lot of miles on it. It's getting a little bit worn out. He's thought, 10, 15 grand, I can get something nice. You really can't. He thought, okay, so what's a brand new truck? 45, 55, 65,000 for a base model basic truck. And Crazy D was like, I'm out. This is dumb. I don't want to spend that much money. He's like, I could afford it. I make enough money. I could afford it. I don't want to. I refuse to spend that. You could almost go buy a Maybach Mercedes, an S600, an S560, an S580, brand new Mercedes-Benz for the price of a truck. I don't understand why they're so high. I know why. Because people are paying it. The demand is there, the price goes up, and they still keep selling them anyway. I can't do work in a Mercedes. I need my truck to do work. But that's kind of a farce, because I would say 80% of trucks on the road aren't even used for what they were originally meant for, working on a farm, hauling stuff, towing stuff. Most people use them as a car anymore. That's not the case with this one. You can clearly see they are working with this truck. It is worth to fix it. It is worth to go through and keep it running, because it sure beats a $1,000 or $2,000 a month truck payment. The output shaft seal on this that we saw leaking, I'm going to let them know about it, but it's really not bad enough yet that it warrants pulling everything all apart. It's getting a lot of miles on it. It's not leaking really bad. It's probably good enough to just leave it alone for a while. But at some point, it probably will require the differential assembly to come down and just do all the seals, get it all done, and put it back in. I've done several of those on these. It's not a fun job, but it's definitely worth it once it gets bad enough. We're kind of at the fine line right now. We'll let the customer know. I doubt they will even be interested in dumping all that money into it, but it's not bad enough yet. So we're definitely getting into an era now, or we're seeing people used to say, my car's getting too expensive to repair, I'm going to go get a new one. But it's getting to be like it used to be 50, 75, 80 years ago. You didn't constantly go out and get a new car all the time. You spent the money and got it fixed, because it's way cheaper than getting a new car. So that's back. We're kind of getting back into that again. I'm seeing that. It's good for mechanics because it keeps shops busy. It keeps everything rolling. But you still have to kind of keep in mind, what is the truck worth versus what's it going to cost to fix it. If you can replace the entire truck for the cost of fixing it, it may be worth it to just go buy another truck of that value. But we're getting past the idea anymore, I'll just go buy a new truck. I'll just go buy a brand new car. It's really silly to do that anymore. They're so expensive. So I definitely want to do a video for you guys on this truck to show you what it took to fix it, what was wrong with it, and I'm going to show you, Mrs. Wizard, what's wrong with this fuel pump here, what I actually found is wrong with it. Because you say I'm looking pretty stinky, so it's time for you to be stinky.
What? No, guys, help me, no!
Just kidding, guys. I'm not going to do that to her. I'll set this old thing down. But if you're curious what kind of tools we use to work on this truck or any other car in the shop, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut if you purchase anything there. Really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because there's many more trucks and cars and things coming in the shop, which means more videos for you guys. Thanks for watching.